Hello and welcome to the Pembroke Pines Book Club. For OCTV, I'm Elaine Kuhlman, and the readers today are Anita Schechter. Hello, Anita.
Hello, Elaine.
Gloria McCluskey. Hi, Gloria. And Barbara Hertel. Hi, Barbara.
Hello.
And today we read the book, The Death of Santini by Pat Conroy. I must tell you that Pat Conroy is one of my favorite authors. So some of his books are wonderful, and some of his books are not quite wonderful. This is an autobiography, so it's a little different from what he usually writes. So, Anita, what'd you think?
Oh my, what did I think? Mr. Santini. No, it was Donald Conroy, and he was then named by his son, Santini.
The great Santini.
He was a horror. He was a misery. He was an awful, awful man. And it upset me as I read the book that I knew at the end of the story, he almost made his father into a hero. Sit next to me and help me sign my books. Do this, do that. He would walk into the house after he came home from one of his stints in the Air Force and smack his wife until she laid on the floor. And then after that, smack his other children until they joined her on the floor. He was a horror. His 24-year-old son committed suicide, I'm sure because of him. He had one daughter that was off the wall. The others were kind of normal, and I really don't know how you could live normally in that house. But it was, I really wanted to stop reading that book in the middle because he was such a nasty,
Weren't you
nasty
glad
man.
when he died?
But I was glad when he died, but I was angry at Pat for making his father into this man that he really wasn't. He was a misery.
I can't tell you how many times I wanted to put that book down.
That's how
It made me so mad to have this going on, because Pat was the oldest, so he was kind of protected of his mother and the others. But then, as you said, by the time he wrote the book and became famous, then his position, his attitude about his father began to change. And I'm not sure what made me madder, that he was doing that or that he couldn't see the man for what he was, because so many families...
He knew what he was.
They try to do everything they can to appease the father. You know, for some reason it's seemingly their fault. And then at some point in time, maybe maturity or just it is what it is, they finally say, I can't do this anymore. I'm leaving him. I'm moving away. He's no longer what I'm trying him to be, what I want him to be, or what he wants me to be. So I'm cutting the ties.
He did that.
And he did, but all through the book, he kept coming. He would start to go. I know
You
that.
have to understand.
So
it's his
Many people, I know some people personally who have had to come to that decision where close family, but they just can't deal with this anymore. And I think what bothered me is what Anita said. You could see it going back and forth in the book. But toward the end, he and his father seemingly became great friends. And he kind of, no, I don't know that forgave him is the correct word, but he just
accepted him.
And
he accepted him.
I had a problem with that.
Yeah, I did too.
But the whole book was, as I said, I kept wanting to put it down. But it was almost like a I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but it kept drawing you back
But
into
you know,
this deep, dark...
he wrote The Great Santini,
I know you did.
which said what a terrible father he was.
But then here
But
he's
then
living
this is many years later.
Right, but...
Okay,
Well,
what'd you think,
you and I will
Barbara?
agree to disagree.
No, I agree with both of you very, very much so. It's the first book I've ever read by this author. And my husband had seen the movie, and when I showed him the book, he said, "Oh yeah, I saw the movie. It's a good movie, you know, really strong.
It was a very
and
good
intense,
movie.
yeah, and all that." What I take from this, very much what you did, and you also, it was really hard to read the book because it is it's kind of a whimsical, dark book. But I think the core of the whole thing was love.
I think so.
It's love. It is what binds us, even
But
though
how
we
could
hate
you
one
love
another.
someone you hate?
Because
He did
again,
hate him.
It was
He hated
his
him.
father and his mother ingrained in them this is your father.
The visceralness of the abuse was just, and at some point the love gets, yes, it's there, but it's diluted to a point where you
So
can't
do we recommend
quite,
this
but
book?
If you want to be aggravated.
if
Really?
you really
You wanna
like
be
Pat
upset?
Conroy
I
to
don't know, yeah.
understand his life, yeah, it was
I would
that
recommend
It's
it.
fun to
I
talk
would.
about
Yeah,
afterwards.
but cautiously. Go into it knowing it's not a story.
It's not an
of-
easy book.
No, it's not an easy
No.
book.
Anyway, the book is called The Death of Santini, the story of a father and his son. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Gloria, and thank you, Barbara. And if you want to read a book by Pat Conroy, this may be one of his last books. It's called The Death of Santini, which is all about his family.